Trapaholics Mixtapes.
Trapaholics, real trap shit.
See, I'm the same kid. Niggas got a little bigger. I've been rocking all this gold, trying to get 7 figures. I'm the same kid. Niggas got a little bigger. I've been rocking all this gold, trying to get 7 figures. I'm the same kid. Niggas got a little bigger. I've been rocking all this gold, trying to get 7 figures. I'm the same kid. Niggas got a little bigger.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
I'm the same kid. Pockets got a little bigger. If I'm ever in the function, then you know I'm with my niggas. I've been off some drugs. I've been pulling that. I'm a juggy, but I ain't gon' slow it down. If I'm in town, but salute me. Cause I know your baby mama wish she had me. Bring it out, watch him run like an athlete. Hit a lick, spend like half off some gold teeth. I'm in your city, heard you wanna get me. If you really bout it, when you shoot, better not miss me. I'm all about this money, ain't never gotta front me. Tired of these bitches acting like they really know me. His pockets broke, they lonely. Hit him up if he owe me. Stack a couple bands, spend that shit on a rollie. His pockets broke, they lonely. Hit him up if he owe me. Stack a couple bands, spend that shit on a rollie. See, I'm the same kid. Name just got a little bigger. I've been rocking all this gold, trying to get 7 figures. I'm the same kid. Name just got a little bigger. I've been rocking all this gold, trying to get 7 figures. I'm the same kid. Name just got a little bigger. I've been rocking all this gold, trying to get 7 figures. I'm the same kid. Name just got a little bigger. I've been rocking.
I'm good, yeah, I'm the same nigga.
Pretty big one, but first I do want to remind everyone that I'm pretty sure my Twitch ban ends in about 2 days, which would be the 15th. They don't actually give you a date or a time or anything, but I did get banned on the 1st, and it does say 14 days, and I'm assuming it's like a exact timer from the day you got banned. So I got banned at like 8 a.m. or something. I'm not really sure. I was asleep. So I'm assuming on the 15th at around like 8 a.m. or something, I should be unbanned, because the way they do it is they actually like delete your whole channel whenever you're banned, even if it's like a suspension. I keep saying the word ban, but it's really more of a suspension, I guess. But they like delete the whole channel so you can't even see it. So I'm assuming when the channel comes back, that means I'm good to go. I don't really know how it works, but I've been missing the stream, man, you know, especially these days, because we got nothing else to do. You know, the quarantine life is getting kind of rough, you know what I mean? It was kind of cool at first. It was kind of fun, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we get to stay inside and, you know, play video games all day, but I miss the gym, man. I miss sports, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I kind of miss going outside a little bit, you know what I mean? Nothing crazy, you know, just a little bit of going outside, you know? But anyways, that's just a little quick life update, I guess. So let's get into the story. So you guys might remember about 4 months ago, I uploaded a video called 4 Eugenes, 1 Girl, and it has 500,000 views, so I'm gonna assume that a lot of you already watched it. If not, I think you should pause, go watch that video, then come back to this video, because it will give you a better understanding of what's about to go down. You know, I will give you a little taste, you know what I mean, just so you can kind of familiarize yourself with the situation, maybe refresh your memory as well.
This is Tori. She fell in love with Travis and Ethan and Mark and Chris. Their four-way relationship is working wonders for them.
Okay, so now we actually have a life update from them. Now, one thing I should add that you do find out in the original video is that she is actually pregnant, and obviously there can only be one real father, even though I believe they all claim to be the father, but the supposed real father of the child is this guy, so just kind of important, I guess. But fast forward a few months, that baby is now born, and now we have kind of a pretty messed up update on how this whole situation has gone down. Polyamorous man celebrated by media now charged with abusing infant. One of the 4 men in a relationship with 1 woman is charged with abusing a 5-week-old infant. Okay, so I would say guess which one it was, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna put him in the thumbnail, so you guys probably already know. But apparently a lot changes in 4 months, you know what I mean? That's a pretty big difference for 4 months. You know what's crazy? In my original video, I actually said that this guy was the most normal looking one, which I mean he was. Not that that's like an accomplishment or anything, you know, that's like being the smartest person on the short bus, you know what I mean? Like nothing to really brag about. But he definitely looks a lot different these days, that's for sure. But you know what? It's always the one you least expect, you know what I mean? Like I would have thought if I read this headline that it would have been the crackhead guy for sure, you know what I mean? I know that guy's ready to snap, but apparently it was this one, and it's actually a pretty fucked up situation if you read about it. So first of all, let me clarify before we get any further. They do say the kid is going to fully recover from all injuries and be okay, but basically if you read into it, it seems to me that this guy like really just squeezed the baby. And I know that sounds crazy, but I really think it was like some Game of Thrones mountain type shit going on here. It says the child has fractured ribs, arms, legs, and skull. Like, holy fuck, man, that's crazy. So he said that he was having trouble sleeping because the kid was crying, and I guess his reaction was to fucking squeeze the kid like when you're trying to get the last bit of toothpaste out the tube. Like, I don't know, man, like you gotta be a real weirdo to do something like that, man. Like, to be fair, we already kind of knew that these people were weirdos, you know what I mean? I don't think anybody thought they were normal, but I did not expect this, man. Like, I was thinking worst case scenario, maybe they end up fighting or something, you know what I mean? Or, you know, maybe it ruins the relationship and, you know, one or two of the dudes leave, or, you know, whatever, something like that. But this is just crazy, man. Like, wow. So I'm assuming this is now a 3-man operation, because I'm thinking this guy's gonna be spending a little bit of time in jail. Not really sure how much. I mean, you never know with how the legal system works and everything, but I'm also assuming he's probably not going to be allowed back into their little relationship that they got going on. I mean, you never know with these type of people. I mean, who knows what they're thinking, you know what I mean? Clearly, they don't think like you and me, all right? They're different, all right? They built different, okay? So we don't really know, but I'm assuming they're not going to welcome this guy back into the family, you know what I mean? But that's pretty much it for the video, man. People wanted me to, you know, talk about this for an update. I probably had like... Today is a very special day, because today is the day that Eugene got himself a girlfriend, and he was kind enough to introduce her to all of us, and I gotta tell you, I'm pretty excited. Now, I know what you must be thinking here, like, Eugene got a girlfriend, like, how is that even possible, right? Well, I think it's better that I just show you the video, so let's get into it.
This is my first video on my new channel called The Idolater. It's completely dedicated to my companion,
10
Melissa.
seconds to insertion.
Now, as you can tell, Melissa is a very special individual, to me especially.
Okay, so as you might have noticed, Eugene's girlfriend just seems a little bit off, right? Well, that's because she's not an actual human being. She's a doll, and her name is Melissa, and he routinely refers to her as his queen. So just let that soak into your mind for a second. I'll give you a second to just kind of process that as we continue to watch this video, because we're just getting started.
Melissa is a love doll. She's a sex doll. That is her main purpose. That is her main function. However, that is not why I decided to buy her.
Yeah, okay, I'm sure you bought her just to talk to her, right? Who are you trying to fool here, my guy? We know what's good. We know you all the way up in there. You don't gotta lie about it, alright? It's alright, we understand. You don't gotta try to lie, though.
So, the problem I came up with is I was very good product reviews of
I'll tell you exactly why you didn't find
One
any
friendly remaining.
reviews on the internet. It's because it's fucking weird, my dude. Anybody who's out there buying
All
these
friendlies were
things
eliminated.
certainly
Mission
ain't putting it
failure.
up on the internet, broadcasting it to the world. Especially not putting their face in the video, my dude. This was a mistake. I gotta give you some props, because I definitely wouldn't be brave enough to be putting my face on a video with this doll on it, but you gotta think about the consequences of this. Imagine you were going in for a job interview or something, and they do a little bit of research on you before deciding to hire you, and they come across this video of you sitting here with this doll. Do you think you're getting the job?
So I wanted to help out that community who is trying to find information and wants to know, is this worth buying? Melissa was, I believe, $2,800, $2,850.
$2,800? Dude, are you serious right now? $2,800 on this doll. Dude, you could have jacked off for free. You're born with a hand. You didn't need to spend $2,800 on a doll. The fuck am I hearing, dude? This can't be a serious fee. My man spent $2,800 on this thing. Get out of here.
She weighs 65 pounds approximately, and she's 145 centimeters, which translates to, I believe, about 4 foot 1 inch. Don't quote me on.
4 foot 1, 65 pounds. What? That's like a 10-year-old. What kind of weird pedophile ass shit is this? Dude got a life-size 10-year-old.
She's a therapeutic aid to me. She's a female presence. She's essentially a partner to me. And by me kind of putting a personality inside of her,
Yeah, now you're
to
putting
locate the
your
biohazard
personality up inside of her. Boy, who are you trying to fool right now? We all know you clapping. You ain't putting no personality up in there. What the hell are you talking about?
she's extremely heavy, very fragile, and you can hang her in your. The easiest way to store her is, well, you have to basically hang her up in a kind of a neutral position. You can't kind of ball her up
Good
and
work.
throw her under
The
your bed.
biohazard container
You'll
has been
damage her
located.
silicone. It's very fragile.
Dudes hanging her off the ceiling. This is how they start. First, they're hanging dolls off the ceiling. Next thing you know, they're hanging real people off the ceiling. We need to get the FBI to come
5 seconds
investigate
before
this,
insertion.
man, because this ain't adding up.
Melissa in particular, you can unscrew her head and then put
Proceed
in a
to
little
biohazard
bolt
container location.
and hang her up. I've never really had to do that because, well, I've done it about 4 times, but for the most part, I don't need to hide her. I live completely alone. There's nobody who comes in and out of here.
Wait, hold up. Did you just catch what he just said? Maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way, but he was like, oh, you can unscrew her head and hang her up, but I've never had to do that. But then he catches himself, he's like, oh, but wait, actually, I have done it like 4 times, but I never have to do it because I live alone and no one comes here. So if you never have to do that, why did you do it 4 times, right? Like, what? Why did you take her head off? I think my dude was getting freaky, yo. He into them headless bitches out here. Dude on some serial killer shit. Dude just chopped her head off and went in. Oh no, man, this is too much, man. This dude's really on some freaky shit right now. I hope I'm looking at that the wrong way. I
Op 4
really
last
do,
stop
because
standing.
now I'm starting to get a little creeped out.
That's where I'm at. I can
Securing
see
the room.
you explaining this
Down to
to
one
like
friendly.
a girlfriend or
Kill
saying,
the
you know, like,
Mozzie,
hey,
he's a
this is
traitor.
so, like, I don't get lonely or something. I don't know.
Hell no, you definitely
been
Kill
cannot
him, Ozzy,
explain
he's
this.
a
That's probably why
traitor.
you ended up having to get one of these things, because you just thought right there that telling someone you have one of these is acceptable. It's all adding up now. I'm on to you.
And so you have to be very, you have to have a certain amount of respect to the fact that you can't just toss her around. And I kind of, it makes me appreciate her more. I treat her as if she's a human being.
My dude out here respecting women. That's what I like to see, man. But this ain't what they're talking about when they say respect women, dude. This is something else.
She needs to be washed and bathed regularly, depending on how much you use her.
Depending on how much you use her. That's just fucking nasty, man. Just imagine having to clean that out. Hell no, that is disgusting.
She gets a lot of bedhead, and I've kind of we've lost a lot of hair. Let me say it like that. So The wig was not that great. I think there are some wigs that are a little higher quality, and part of it is my fault for kind of letting my hair get kind of out of control. You know those rough nights.
Dude, what the hell? He looked at the camera, he was like, yeah, you know those rough nights we be having? Dude was like smiling at the camera. He thought he was the fucking man. Dude, you're talking about a fucking doll. No, I don't know about them rough nights with a doll, dude. Can't relate, man. What the hell? He was really smiling at the camera like, yeah, you know about them rough nights. What the hell?
Okay, so I'm gonna stop just about here.
So that's it for the video. Very interesting to say the least. But before we end it, I would just like to show you guys some of the comments. So let's go ahead and get started. First one comes from Daniel. He says, I'm 27 virgin. Can I fuck your doll for the right price? I take the plane where you live. No problem, thanks. And this guy responded with, my lady ain't for sale. LOL. Hope you are able to save up for your own silicone companion. Jesus Christ. Where do I even start here? Ignoring how weird this combo actually was that just took place, ignoring that, why would you even want to pay all that money for this dude's doll? Why wouldn't you just get your own doll, Daniel? This ain't adding up. Next one is from Game Behemoths, and he says, this is awesome because every time I've ever walked in cold, I've thought, if only I could fuck this minion. We've all been there, Game Behemoths. I'm sure we can all relate to you on that one. This next one comes from Kua Waka or something, I don't know. If you really want to be perverted, you'd leave her head off and instead put some fake blood around her neck, then bang the hell out. Okay, hold on, man. Where the fuck is the FBI? Can I send this dude's YouTube comment into the FBI? I told you earlier, dude. I think I was right. This dude was really clapping with no head on there, dude. And this dude just taking it to the next. Dude, we need to report this guy to the FBI, man. I'm worried right now. Like, that ain't some normal shit to talk about, dude. What the fuck is wrong with you? And for the final comment, this one really made me. Recently, it seems to be getting a lot of attention again. You know, no surprise, I would say. It's 2018. We're all about that equality nowadays. But it all started with this tweet right here. 154 million must be nice. We over here looking for a million, but Lord, let me get back in my lane. And that's from Aja Wilson, a WNBA player. Now, if you don't understand what Miss Wilson here is talking about, well, she's talking about LeBron James. Now, LeBron recently signed a $154 million contract with the Lakers, and Miss Wilson here seems a little bit upset about it because, you know, she would like to see some money like that. But here's the thing. You're not LeBron James. I mean, no disrespect when I say this, but if we were to have a game between the best WNBA team versus LeBron James by himself, 1 versus 5, I honestly don't know who would win that game. I give LeBron a very good shot of winning that game by himself, 1v5. I am not trolling. And let's just say we were to give LeBron just a few teammates. Like, I could be one of his teammates, alright? Me and like 3 people watching this video could be LeBron's teammates in this game, and we would beat the WNBA All-Star team, not a regular team. We could take the best WNBA players, put them all on one team, and we'd probably beat them 179 to 32. And I'm not trolling when I say that. So, you know, as she said in the tweet, go ahead and stay in your lane, alright? Please do not speak about LeBron James. Now, with that out of the way, the reason that you are not paid the same as an NBA player actually has nothing to do with skill whatsoever, but I just wanted to make it very clear that you do not deserve the same money as LeBron. However, the fact is, the reason the WNBA is not paying you very well is because the WNBA doesn't make any money in the first place. They got nothing to pay you with. So I did a little bit of research into this topic. So let me go ahead and hit you guys with a few facts here, okay? The NBA generates $5.9 billion a year. So it's not really a big deal if they want to give the best player in the NBA a $154 million contract. That's nothing compared to the revenue that they have. Now let's do the same thing, except let's take a look at the WNBA. So WNBA generates $52 million a year. So going back to your original tweet, obviously no single player in the WNBA can have a $154 million contract when the whole fucking league doesn't even generate $154 million. I know that must be difficult to understand. You'd rather just pretend that you're being treated unfairly and there's this huge gender wage gap, and you know it's only because you're a female, you know, that's why you're being paid less, right? I don't know if any of these WNBA players have ever looked up into the stands during a game, but there ain't nobody watching, bro. Like, that shit's fucking empty. Even your own mom ain't there watching you, man. Nobody gives a fuck about you. So the reason you're not getting any money is because they don't have any money to pay you, alright? Now, there is another aspect of this as well, and this one actually almost makes sense. I almost agreed with them till I did a little bit more investigation into it. So the NBA has a 50-50 revenue split with the players. So 50% of all money earned by the NBA goes towards the players' salaries. Now, the WNBA does not have a 50-50 split with the players. So this is where you almost have a very good point. Like, this is where I was like, oh, you know what? Why don't they do a 50-50 split, right? But here's the thing. The WNBA does a 22% split to the players. So much less than the NBA, and they keep 78% of the revenue for themselves. That seems kind of unfair, right? But here's the thing. There's 12 teams in the WNBA, and only half of them operate at a profit, aka half the teams in the WNBA are already losing money, and that's with them having 78% of the revenue. So if the teams were to give up another 28% of the revenue and make it a 50-50 split, then pretty much all the teams in the WNBA would all be losing money, and the entire WNBA as a whole would be losing money, and they would just have to shut down the whole fucking league, because they're not going to just sit there and keep running it and losing millions and millions of dollars every year just to keep this shit alive that nobody's even watching. So the only reason they're taking 78% instead of 50-50 is so that the league can survive, alright? They have to take a higher split because they just don't make enough money with the WNBA to give you a 50-50 split. So in conclusion, no, the WNBA is not treating the players unfairly whatsoever, and if you just do a little bit of research into the topic instead of sitting here crying about your
bougie. He say the way that thing move, it's a movie. I told that boy we gotta keep it lowly, me the room key. I done bled the block and now it's hot, bitch, I'm Tunchi. I'm mood and I'm moody. I'm a savage. Class
501 Harris. Turning into 501 Harris.
Shots fired!
Drop that lock, I'm going past your door, John. Stand by, we have shots fired. We have shots fired. Stand by. Central suspect down. Rescue 2-3.
Alright, stand by, I got a shield! Let's wait, let's get a team together when we get more units here. Keep cover on him! Take my place, keep cover on him.
Got it.
66 is the boss. I'm fucking true one nigga. Haha. Es a bar, es a bar, es a bar, ajá. Yo hago letras maleanteo, no es para matar el espantapájaro. Los que me están insultando, algún día yo me ría en sus jietas. What a fucking true one nigga. Yo rapeo, maleanteo, pero es para matar payaso humano. Jaja, what a fucking true way, the nip drip. Yo hago lo que se me ocurre hacer, jaja, porque el 66 me están dictando, jaja. What a fucking 66 is the new drip, pero yo no soy matador con mis palabras, lo que estoy haciendo. Yo rapeo, maleanteo, pero no soy matador, jaja.
Recoil, the gun sounds, the zombie, oh my god, the audio. It's so bad. In the next scene, we're using a special item that renders the player invisible to zombies. Like, yeah, like, look at the movement. If they make noise, the zombies do notice them, so this guy can't shoot. Okay. God, like, even the death animations, like, there's no ragdoll. I don't know, man. This just looks so fucking old school. And not in a good way, you know what I mean? Can he pull out a knife and stab the zombie? Oh, look at the pathing of the fucking AI. Ugh. Like, here's the thing, man. If this game looked any good, I'd be like, jump in, get the time that you can out of it, because they're never going to finish it. They're just going to move on to the next one. But I don't even see the point in playing this right now. They're combining a whole bunch of different things, but you can get a better experience out of literally anything. There's some people that like this, though, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, I can sit here and talk shit all day because I think it looks terrible. Looks like we have weapon customization now as well. Putting scopes on a vector, I guess. So, like, they have all these systems, and some people are going to like it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, there's people that are buying these things because they wouldn't continue to do it if there wasn't, right? So, I mean, what the fuck do I know, right? I think this looks terrible. Look at that. This is the kind of shit I'm talking about when we talk about, like, AI in games like this. This is why I respected Dead Side, because, like, the zombie pathing... Look at, he's hitting him, like, look, it doesn't even look good. The scoping, it's just so, it looks so clunky. How much time is left on this thing? Okay, we're close. Jesus. Oh, that's it? Okay. Steam, where its free-to-play incarnation continues to be popular. The Infestation Facebook page for Thailand, for example, has nearly 500,000 subscribers and is still surprisingly active. So, yeah. That... What do you say to something like that? You know what I mean? Every time I make a video, I risk getting DMCA striked by this guy. Every time we talk about it to try and raise awareness that yet again, and this PC Gamer article writes that the 7th time's the charm. Yet again, this guy is coming back trying to make more money from people who might be unsuspecting, who might not know the history. The least I can do is make a video to explain that every couple of years they come back with a new fresh coat of paint and then abandon it 6 months later, so you'll never ever see a game like this come to fruition. They even say in this article, and I mentioned it during my reaction, that they take, look right here, he tells me that Outbreak recycles around 60% of the art assets in Shattered Skies, though the team is swapping in more original assets as time goes on. I got in trouble when I explained that when Shattered Skies was coming out, that it was an asset flip of games like Romero's Aftermath and any one of their previous titles, and they came at me so hard. They DMCA'd me back then. I was a 600 subscriber channel. They were shit talking me in the comments, and then they DMCA'd me because they were like, you know, you're telling people that it's basically an asset flip. You're lying to these people, is what they tried to claim, when in actual fact, I wasn't. All of these games do the same thing. You recycle assets, you move some original assets in over time, and then you fucking abandon them. And he even addresses it in the PC Gamer article. This is a quote from T-Top. There is this notion
Who do you guys
that we
wanna ban?
abandoned our games. I don't want to just say you're wrong, but I'm seeing what
sure?
I'm seeing.
We're on a
And
tie.
what I'm
What's
seeing
I wanna
is
ban
that we did a
Havana,
pretty
but
good
if you guys
job
wanna take
actually
Jackal off,
supporting
you
our
guessed.
games for a pretty long time. You can't name me a
Please
single
don't ban
game
Jack.
that you have finished since 2012.
Okay.
And if you say that a game came out of
classic
early
ban.
access
Then
and
no
launched in
off.
1.0, that is not what I'm
Valkyrie,
talking about. I'm
Legion,
talking about a
Echo.
game that
intimidation
has
tactic.
been built and
Exactly.
polished and completed,
We're gonna
and
play
not
mind
a
games
game
with
that
them.
basically looks like an off-brand fucking version of your first alpha launch. All of your games have years upon years of polish left on them, years
gonna
and
ban
years of
it, like,
development
out of the blue.
that you have cut out time and time again. You can sit here and say, oh, I'm seeing what I'm seeing, and what I'm seeing is you're wrong. You can say that all fucking day. The fact of the matter is, you have abandoned every single project that you have created since 2012. You are on an 8-year high, my friend. Every single game. You cannot name me one that has been finished. See, here's the thing. For all of our operations, we've been like that, he adds. We supported our games way past the point where it was financially viable even.
I think it's just
we've
like
always
R6
been saying,
Tracker or
okay,
something, 'cause these are
when
definitely
we've seen a
target
game is
bans.
declining, we've tried different
You wouldn't
things.
ban these
There probably
otherwise.
is no point of return there. We turned off monetization part of the game, we stopped selling the game, or we stopped taking the currency from the game, and we pretty much supported the game up to the point where no one was left playing, and we decided
get a
to
Thatcher?
shut it down. Now, I find that strange because in the same article,
Kelly
you claim
works.
that there's been so many messages of people telling you that they want an updated version of the War Z. That's what this game is about. The reason why you guys are coming back is because so many of your
Hey,
fan
guys.
base, the
Today was my-
500,000 subscribers
my last day
on
as-
your Facebook page, have been
You're what
asking
now?
here everywhere on
I've
social media,
graduated.
pretty much saying, guys, we want
Oh.
an updated version of the War Z.
Nice.
So we started thinking about what we can
Buggers.
do. What do we as players, not as developers, want to see in a game? That's Outbreak. So you're telling me there's so much interest in your past projects that you have apparently completed to the point where nobody's playing them, but they really want an updated version of that. Everything in this fucking article is contradictory as shit. And to be honest, I don't know if the actual author of this article, which I think he did a very good job in doing, I'm going to name him at the end because I'm still scrolling through and reading it, I don't think he actually brought up a lot of these points to Sergey. Obviously, they don't want to disrespect the guy, right? Because he's such a fucking upstanding citizen in the gaming industry. But he says each of these games is structured around a games as a service model that exacerbates the issue, creating a vicious cycle of animosity that has haunted much of T-Top's career. It's the same cycle. People invest time or money into the latest game. There's not enough players to sustain the continued development. As money dries up, they can't afford to deliver the updates needed to improve, so they throw a Hail Mary and relaunch it as a Battle Royale or free-to-play spin-off that also inevitably fails since the underlying issues are still present. But the one thing that doesn't make sense in that whole thing is the idea that they run out of money. As money dries up, T-Dub's team can't afford to deliver the updates. That is where you fail to keep me engaged in the story. Because that's bullshit, because if you can't afford to update War Z, how do you afford to make Romero's Aftermath? If you can't afford to update Romero's Aftermath, how do you afford to make Shattered Skies? If you can't afford to make Shattered Skies, how in the oh lord fuck does this game now exist? It's a bullshit narrative, and that narrative has been piled down our fucking throats by a Russian con man in the last 8 fucking years. And at the end of this article, the only thing I can give T-Tov credit on,
you would realize that. And in fact, now that I think about it, you know, if you're in the WNBA and you're so upset about the salary that you're getting, why don't you just join the NBA, you know, since you're so good, right? It's not about skill. It's not about how much revenue the WNBA makes. No. It's about your gender, right? Well, there's nothing stopping you from joining the NBA. There's actually no rule in place that prevents a woman from joining the NBA. And worst case scenario, it's 2018. You can always identify as a male and no one's gonna question you. So if you're in the WNBA and you're upset about your salary, just join the NBA. I mean, I'm sure it won't be an issue, right? It has nothing to do with your skill level. I mean, you're equally as skilled as everyone in the NBA. People just don't want to watch you because you're a female. That's all. It has nothing to do with your skill level. I'm sure you're just as good as LeBron James at basketball. So go ahead and join the NBA and go ahead and get paid what you're worth, right? That's what you should be doing. I don't know why you're sitting here crying. But guess what? None of them will be doing that, because I don't know if you guys have ever had the unfortunate pleasure of watching a WNBA game, but most of them are pretty terrible. There are some good players in the WNBA, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them are very terrible, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I'm pretty sure I could beat some WNBA players one-on-one, and I'm not trying to sound cool or exaggerate, but like, give me the shortest, worst player in the WNBA, and let me play her one-on-one. I'm pretty sure I would beat her. Like, just think about it. It would be like playing against a 5'4", 140-pound female or something, right? Come on, man. Like, that's like saying you would lose to your mom one-on-one. Just imagine right now playing your mom in a game of basketball one-on-one. Like, your mom ain't gonna beat you, bro. Like, no matter how skilled she might be, that's just not happening. So, anyways, man, like, I'm not trying to be mean when I say all this, but, like, we gotta be realistic here, alright? Like, we gotta stick to the facts here, and the fact is, you're not getting paid less because of your gender. In fact, that has absolutely nothing to do with it. The only reason you're getting paid less is because they just don't have any money to pay you with. So anyways, that's pretty much it, man. I'm real tired of, like, having to tiptoe around everyone's feelings. Like, just let these bitches know, man. You fucking suck, alright? No one wants to watch you. If you're not making any money, that's why you're not getting paid. Like, we don't gotta sit here and pretend it's because they're females or whatever. Like, we gotta stop protecting everyone's feelings, man. Just let them know the truth. Like, I don't know. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, rating if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're not already. Follow me on Twitter, links in the description down below. Other than that, have a good day, and peace out.
How the fuck did that frost see where we were?
My device is ready.
The user is no longer in your possession. Last operator standing. All friendlies have been eliminated.
Lace up the shoes. Get them all ready. It's like you got to make the brown Reebok pumps. You got to pump them up a little bit. Pump them up a little bit, right? Yeah.
Even Justin Gaethje. Guys, there's a few things to unpack here, which is, first off, it does not appear there's going to be a screw job. I mean, that was a very real conversation going into this fight, right? It was very real when everything that you're hearing from the top coming down is it's going to be Conor versus Khabib. So when you hear it's going to be Conor versus Khabib, but then you find out you're doing an interim championship, and you believe that the interim champion goes on to fight the undisputed champion, those two just don't go together. So you have to start scratching your head and going, wait a minute. Are we getting ready to run a screw job here? Are we going to do an interim championship and then all of a sudden one day make believe that didn't happen and bring Conor in? That's real. One thing about the interim championship, I'm one of the guys that loves the interim championship. I think more of you are starting to come to my side, but not everybody. There's a big resistance. A lot of people don't like it. You saw Justin Gaethje himself take that belt off and throw it aside. I didn't love that moment. Justin Gaethje earned that belt. I don't care, and this is a competitor in me, and I'm as cold-hearted of a competitor as they come. I do not care what words you put in front of world champion. I don't care if you undisputed, lightweight, heavyweight.
We have an alibi. Let's all target the Frost.
Give a damn. WBA, WBC,
or whoever
UFC.
they are this time.
I don't care.
Idol Kojima.
If it follows with world championship, that means something. That's got to mean a lot. The history books are going to reflect that forever. Justin Gaethje can take that thing off and throw it off all he wants. You cannot talk about Justin Gaethje for the rest of Justin Gaethje's life without calling him a world champion, which is exactly what he is. Now, I only bring that to you because as much as I love the interim championship, and the interim champion didn't love the interim championship, one thing about it, we are going to fiercely adhere to the rules of the interim champion that we make up on the spot. I get that. That's the only part I don't like about it. I just don't like that part about it. Look, it has to mean something. It means something to me, and I didn't even win the damn thing. He did. But I don't want for one of those guys who won it to then not very clearly be offered the undisputed title. Now, you can't make a guy sign if somebody wants to get squirrely in the back. Look, the show must go on is still the golden rule, but he's got to be offered, doesn't he? I think I'm not being unreasonable in the least by saying that, and it did look as though, man, are we getting ready to pull one on Tony or Justin here? Are we getting ready to? Well, we have the answer to that. No, absolutely not. It's going to be Khabib and Justin, and this one is interesting, guys. And you don't need to give a prediction, and I don't need to give a prediction, right? We're a long ways away from that. We've got training camps. We got to come up with a date. There's a lot of moving parts before we hedge our bet. But when you're going into a fight, it's all about perception, right? It's all about perception. And ultimately, if you're talking about getting somebody to part with their money, not only for their time to watch the fight, but many people are handicapping these things. They're betting on these fights. So what you're doing, perception. The perception of this fight is extremely fascinating. Khabib has won every single fight he's ever won by taking you down and mauling you. Now, to make believe that Khabib does not have a plan B should he need it would be silly. But to bring up the fact that Khabib has absolutely won every single fight the same way, which is he takes somebody down and then mauls them, is fair. Justin Gaethje has never been taken down and mauled. That's just never happened. So when you're closing your eye and you're trying to see in your mind's eye how this fight is going to play out, to make believe that you could envision that Khabib dumps Justin and just mauls him and keeps him there like a fool is a little bit tough of a conclusion to come to based on each's history. If you were to come away and believe that Justin can stay on his feet, Justin is the dominant striker on his feet, I would agree with that perception. Does that mean that's reality? I don't know. I don't know about that. Khabib's ended up on his feet twice against his will. Twice. Conor was very hard to take down. Khabib used a lot of energy, stayed on his feet.
I reported it.
This is coming on the heels of Conor just going 30 minutes with the greatest boxer of all time, and Floyd Mayweather. Khabib put Conor down. It was a big moment that nobody knew was coming. Nobody knew that Khabib had that level of power. That he had that big right hand. We just didn't know. You don't know anything until you know it. Khabib also ended up stuck on his feet with Ally Aquina. He took some heat for that. Even Joe Rogan was saying that his stand-up looked amateur. I'm using a quote. That's not what I saw. Ally Aquina is not a guy that you want to be stuck on your feet with, and Khabib got the best of it. So I don't know that I fully agree that Khabib's stand-up isn't there. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about perception. I believe that we would perceive Justin to be better on his feet. And if we cannot concede that Khabib can take Justin off his feet, all of a sudden, you're picking Justin. I mean, all of a sudden, that's just where you're left. Just by default, just by process of elimination, you're back on Justin. I mean, those words have never been spoken. Khabib has never gone into a fight in a meaningful period of time where he was not the favorite. To take you back to the night he fought Conor. When that went off, Khabib was a 2.5 to 1 favorite. Now, at one point, he was a 4 to 1 favorite, and then Ireland flew into town. And I'm talking about Las Vegas, and Ireland just blindly bet on their boy, and it moved the line, but it still didn't get any closer than 2.5 to 1. I will predict for you right now that if Khabib is to fight Justin, we're just based off perception. Khabib will be the favorite, but I'll bet you it'll be a minus 180. For any of you that don't handicap, to put that in terms for you, that's less than 2 to 1. I mean, those are pretty damn good odds, and that would be very complimentary to Justin's ability to go out there and compete with Khabib. One of the intangibles that you have to deal with when you're dealing with Khabib is his pace. He is one of the few guys, the Randy Couture, the Dan Gables of the world, the George St. Pierre, who can weaponize pace. He can make that every bit as intimidating and scary. He will make an opponent wonder, can I be here at the end of the fight? That is 100% where a fighter's confidence comes from. It's not from who's faster, who's got the better record, or what the reach is, or who the youth, or who weighed more than the other one. That's all talk for the media. All a fighter wants to know is, do I believe in my heart that when the end of the night comes, I can still be here? Can I be here more present than he is? If the answer is yes, you are now confident going into a fight. That is the one and only thing that it comes down to. And when you're dealing with somebody like Khabib who can weaponize the case, it's a very real question. However, if we're left with history to be our trajectory for the future, Guess who else has that same ability? Tony Ferguson. And the answer for Justin was yes, I can be here at the end of the night. Now, there was many things that happened within that Tony fight that I believe Justin himself will rework over time. I believe he will rework the story to say, this is why my energy was able to be extended. This is what I did differently in this fight. This was my strategy, and I credit the great Trevor Whitman, his coach.
Knock by where Valk
I
died.
believe that is how Justin will tell the story. He's not being candid. Justin surprised himself. There were things that happened in that fight that were not meant to happen, that was not in his mind's eye, and were not strategized in the least. A couple of those things where he did not use a lot of extra movement. He waited, he stood his ground, he let Tony do the distractions, let Tony do the moving, he waited for Tony to come to him, boom, boom, and he cracked him hard, and then he got out of the way. That is not something Justin has ever done in the past.
Be advised,
Justin will hit you and then stand there and let you hit him back, and then it's his turn again and it's your turn again. Justin, for whatever reason, got his licks in and got the hell out of the way and didn't take the damage back. That is something that if he can identify
successfully deployed,
and he can take with him into the Khabib fight and beyond, is going to change Justin's career. It's going to change the outcomes of the contest, and is going to extend his career by 36 to 48 months. My fear is that Justin is going to rework the story like everybody else. I see guys do this in business all the time. You'll get some guy that stumbled into some business, he had an idea, he raised the capital, he executed fairly well, his business turned around. He will then come out 10 years later and write a book and say things like, I knew if I did this, and I knew public perception, and I knew the psychology of my consumer. He'll rework everything instead of just saying, man, I put myself in a good situation, it turned out that this worked. I had a really good team behind me, they kind of overperformed and everything came together. That's the real truth on when a business works. But nobody wants to say that. They want to take the credit. They want to take this victory lap. And Justin, who's as humble as they come, is going to pass that to his coaches. He just did. I would do the same thing. I will do the same thing, but I want Justin to be cognizant up here that that's not what happened. He went out, he had a performance. In many ways, he overperformed. In many ways, he surprised himself. But if he was to look back as to what happened physically that was different in this contest than
secure
others,
the bombs.
he didn't use weight, he didn't waste energy, which meant every time he had to crack, he had the power. There was no peppering shots, there was no measuring a guy. You guys will hear that, I'm measuring a guy. No, he didn't measure, boom, boom, and then he got out of the way. That's what happened. He hit Tony, he didn't get hit back.
Located a bomb.
That's what happened. And if he goes into a fight with Khabib, and I've talked about this to you guys going blue in the face, you go and break down Khabib, and this meant is a huge compliment to Khabib, but it's also something an opponent has to study and observe prior to going into the contest. If you can keep your back off the fence, your chances of beating Khabib go up serious. Because your chance of being taken down drops to almost zero.
Op 4 has located a bomb.
Khabib simply does not take guys down in the center of the cage. Period. Plain and simple. Khabib pushes you up against the fence. One of the hardest places to take a guy down is up against the fence. Having your back on the defense is a defensive mechanism. It is good for the guy being attacked in a grappling situation. It is not good for the offensive guy. So that's why I say it's a compliment to Khabib. The mere fact that he can do this and have success with it is shocking. He's a master of a position that nobody has even considered trying to master. Khabib, in many ways, takedowns against the fence is the John Danaher of that position. John Danaher has the Danaher Death Squad. He was training guys like Craig Jones and Gordon Ryan and Nicky Rod. I can go on and on. Nicky Rod and all these different guys. But what those guys are doing under the Danaher Death Squad is 5 and 7 years ahead of what the rest of the world's going to do. It's going to take the world 5 years of studying tape and flying out to New York and getting private lessons just to find out the offense that John Danaher is doing with these guys. It's then going to take them 2 years to develop a way to stop it. He's literally 5 and 7 and possibly a decade ahead. If he stopped right now, did not advance one bit, John Danaher is roughly a decade ahead. Khabib is the same way, but against the fence. It's very relevant. I keep saying this, but it's relevant because you're talking about Justin Gaethje, who is a Division I wrestler. So many people. I was in a conversation with my friend Ryan earlier, and he said, you know, Chael, I watched all your videos. I've heard you say 100 times, the right answer to any question at 155 pounds is Justin Gaethje. If you hear there's a question, there's a problem, there's an issue, who should fight who, what are we going to do here, who's the right guy to put in, and it's 155 pounds. Just throw the card on the table. Justin Gaethje. He said, I've heard you say that. I never knew why you said it. I didn't get it. I didn't get Justin Gaethje. I thought he was just like everybody else on the roster. He's tough, he's durable, he likes to fight. There's a little bit more to Justin Gaethje, though. There is a little bit more. And a lot of the more comes from us that have known him for a period of time and know that he's a Division I All-American. And I have to keep going back to that because the son of a bitch won't wrestle. He refuses to. Fine, we're just going to have to accept
Do we know who it is?
We also know he has that skill. And if push comes
reaching.
to shove, he can pull that ace out of his sleeve. The other side of that, whether Justin goes out there and wrestles or not by your eyes, he wrestles every match. He wrestled Tony Ferguson for 23 minutes and 41 seconds. Before you say jail, they never
Oh,
grabbed each other.
that
How do you
fucking
say that?
sucked.
Tony Ferguson never changed elevation and shot on Justin
10
Gaethje.
seconds left.
The reason he didn't do that was out of
Op 4
respect to
eliminated.
Justin's passion and investment. Tony Ferguson knew this guy's the real deal. It's going to be very hard to take him down. Nobody's ever taken him down. And therefore, we're just going to have to go to plan B, which is punches and kicks. And should we end up on the ground, I might be on bottom, but I can out-scramble him. This was Tony's strategy. Not a bad strategy. I don't disagree with it at all. I don't disagree with it even in hindsight. I don't disagree with it because I do not believe that Tony could have taken him down. When you talk about Justin's ability to stay on his feet and not getting taken down and the respect that guys have for him because they've done their homework and they know what his past is, it does lend you perception-wise to believe that Khabib is not going to be any different and Khabib will also be stuck on his feet with Gaethje. Whether that's true or not isn't the point right now. The perception that that is true is what starts to make this match interesting. And when
right fucking now, YouTube's gonna stream this event. It's gonna be on the front page, and we're about to film one of the most viral YouTube videos. There's gonna be obstacles that come our way this week. People are gonna try to pull us down.
July 15th. This has to happen for the world.
The king is back. I look around, it's not the same.
Tyler Perry put me in this movie!
we got a chopper, dude.
I felt like I was letting God down!
What's up, Castle?
You know what I love more than anything in the world right now? Conventions. A place where you can go to enjoy content that other fellow people also enjoy. Never has there been ever a bad convention. Let me repeat that now. There has never been a bad convention on the face of the internet.
TanaCon.
By the way, you remember TanaCon? That was an alright convention. We got another one. Has it even been a month since the last show convention? Also, I wanted to make it apparent, I do like swearing in my videos. I get to express myself. Unfortunately, YouTube likes to censor that. I'm gonna be a little bitch boy and comply. I'm just gonna have a bunch of random images and pictures appear until one of them actually lands. Oh my god, I'm not having glass breaking every time I... Right, let's try it again, okay? Just alright, you know what? I'll take it. So you bros probably remember TanaCon. People loved it. There was no controversy around it whatsoever. Well, another mentally insane individual has now started their own convention.
Oh my
And
god.
that individual
Oh my god,
is
I won't stop.
FuziTube.
I am rich, I am happy, I am skinny. I am worthy. I am powerful, I am strong.
I can't do that because he tattooed his hairline. He actually is bald. It doesn't work. But Jake and Logan Paul, that roast works. Idiots. Stop getting me to bully people. I just want to make Fortnite videos. FuziTube first came onto the YouTube scene creating uplifting pranks.
The ones that I try to do, try to uplift people, try to inspire people.
These uplifting pranks are amazing. You'd laugh. Fuzi'd laugh. The people involved would get PTSD.
Try to uplift people, try to inspire people.
Fuzi would try and exploit people out of money. He also did it to his own parents, saying that he bought his parents a house, when in fact, he just bought the house for himself.
Today is the day that I walk into the first ever home that I purchased for my parents. Deep down, each kid, when he buys a home, it's for their parents. It's not for themselves, especially if it's their first home.
It's for you.
Okay, well, I'm happy. It's for me and my future wife. It's for me and my future wife.
That's correct.
Now, people put two and two together and realize that Fuzi's actually quite a bit of a scumbag, and then a tidal wave of exposed videos came out on him. He ran away, not before claiming all the revenue on the videos.
Whoa!
And then he went into hiding, totally disappeared, like Tony Stark from Iron Man. Except no one wanted Fuzi back. But then the heavens opened, and Fuzi came back down from the sky, and he said to the common man, "I have more content, brothers." And what was it? A piece of music video.
Character with no character, man, that's a shame. That's a fact.
I don't know, guys. I mean, Jake Paul Litmus was pretty good.
Fuzi hyped up this song, acting like it was just gonna knock everything out of the water.
And we're about to film one of the most viral YouTube videos, music videos, not just as a YouTuber song, because this is gonna be mainstream, but one of the most viral videos Melrose has ever seen.
Two things I'd like to point out in this music video. Firstly, the fact that Fuzi claims he made Jake Paul.
Jake Paul was just slurp juice. Slurp, 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 slurp. I practically birthed you.
And also the fact that transitions look like content aware scale. Like, seriously, look, I could just open up Photoshop and it's... Now the music video, get that out of here. That ain't important, because July 15th. July 15th.
The world is gonna hear about July 15th.
Fuzi was gonna have a convention on July 15th.
July 15th is real.
This event was gonna have YouTubers and musical artists and YouTubers and Minecraft Steve. And most importantly, guys, that you really need to just get this into your head. Drake, the god of music, the man who will not f**k off from your Spotify recommendations, was going to the convention.
According to The Blast, Drake never met the YouTuber. He was never booked for Fuzi's show, and he's never even heard of him.
Drake wasn't going. Fuzi just thought if he constantly harassed and called out Drake non-stop, Drake could just have a full-on mental breakdown and end up coming to the convention.
Anyways, Drake, I'm trying to find you because I want to invite you to my July 15th show tomorrow, free at the Greek Theater. It's a concert to celebrate love after the World Cup. Energy, got a lot of energy, got a lot of people trying to jam me in this energy, trying to take away from an Arab.
Get back in the car.
Whoa. Okay, sorry.
This also included stalking Drake and admittedly camping out his hotel room.
Yo, Drake, I literally look like a crazy person right now because I'm outside of the place that you're at. Don't ask me how I found it, bruh. God put me here. I'm on God's plan right now. I'm walking in God's purpose.
Well, your dad is who I know personally.
So what was the actual lineup, if not Drake? Well, we got your boy Little Poppy.
Hello.
With the see, no. And hit, cause I'm too legit to quit. Lit mommy, lit poppy, I gotta get lit, come on. Let's go. Lit poppy on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play.
Fuzi also began to cover his tracks with having Drake there by saying the event was a Royal Rumble.
It's gonna be like the Royal Rumble of a concert, because you don't know who's coming out. That's the fun part.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. It's like Smash. Waluigi may show up, he may not. I don't know. Now, the problem with Fuzi is, unlike Tanner, he has a lot less time to work with, and I can really sympathise with that. What I can't sympathise with, however, is the fact that FuziTube's ego is so high up in the atmosphere, it probably reached space before the Russians did.
Why is there only one Kanye West? Why isn't there 20 Kanye West?
If I see P. Diddy on the street, I'll have the boss to ask for a picture so I can post a selfie saying I met P. Diddy. Dad, I want to be the next P. Diddy.
I wanna be P. Diddy. Clap, clap, clap. I'm gonna mine them diamonds.
I've been hitting myself in the head a lot this video. Some Reddit therapist is gonna come out saying I got problems, and then they had Little Yachty come up on stage, and that is Little Yachty. If you say it isn't, you're a liar. And then halfway through Little Yachty's performance, stream just cuts to black for no reason. Everything goes offline, and then someone called the cops on the event.
This wasn't the venue YouTuber Yusuf Arakat, known as Fuzi, had in mind. He organized and promoted through social media what he called the Hate Dies, Love Arrives concert at the Greek Theater. But when someone called in a bomb threat, 1,500 concert goers had to evacuate.
Drake was supposed to be here. LeBron James was supposed to be here. J. Cole was supposed to be here.
And that was the failure of FuziCon. It was great. We had a laugh. Thankfully, no one got hurt. But hold up a second, gamers, because that was only part 1 of the 2-part series of FuziCon. Now, if part 1 was the descent of humanity, part 2 is the equivalent of falling into the void in Minecraft. I need to stop these Minecraft analogies. They need to stop. You have a problem, Pirate City. So Fuzi just climbed on someone's car and he started preaching to everyone like some deranged cultist leader. Imagine any video game cult leader here. Fuzi was basically the equivalent of them. And just when you thought this family-friendly, love-promoting event couldn't get any worse, Keemstar and Fuzi, they
Blue hatch is open.
To you! I'm looking at you dead in the motherfucking eye. I'm not hiding behind Twitter. I love you. I love you.
And then come the evening, Fuzi was clearly exhausted. His
They're
energy
getting moto
reserves
hatch.
were low. He hadn't had a monster energy for quite a while. Yeah, I know I edited the monster in my hand. Am I really gonna go to the shop and buy a monster? So then Fuzi just starts promoting all his social media, promoting his Twitter for no reason. I'm pretty sure everyone in the event already followed your Twitter, because why else would they come to this event? You had no talent.
You go to twitter.com/Fuzi, you'll see everything I'm about to say.
And then the cops came in and they just shut that down as well. Not because of any threat, but because they just realised how sad the event was. But then we realised that FuziCon was not a total waste of time. It had an ulterior motive. It had a meaning. And guess what that meaning was? To promote a song.
And mining for diamonds, really gotta find 'em.
And now, guys, the cycle is finally complete. I have designed a one-of-the-kind, 100% YouTubers. Can't trust them. Everyone's on the take. PewDiePie, Susan Wojcicki, even the comment moderators. All paid to turn a blind eye. But me? Nah, I couldn't. So I got out. I take on cases YouTube support can't or won't. My next big hit, the Ace family.
5 seconds left.
They seem nice.
Bombs down.
They smile,
Bombs down, bombs
GoPros,
down.
all the kids, but not me.
Nice.
In this city, if you're nice, you've got something to hide. So watch out, Ace family, because I'm coming for you.
That's it. Cool.
Now, if you didn't get it already, I dislike family vlogging channels. Vlogging as a concept is tolerable, depending on who's behind the camera. But family vloggers hurt me on a more personal level, because you combine the hyper-editing of vlogs with the manipulation of child placement.
Oh, look at my child. My kid is so cute. I'm so happy I bought them off the black market.
A child that can't consent to their whole life being publicized on the internet. Now, I don't dislike all vloggers. I don't rate them in quality, but more how down to earth they are.
Jacob, your arms look really big.
Fuck you, dude! David Dobrik is a good example. He just films normal conversations with his mates in a multi-million-dollar house, which is, of course, super relatable.
Weren't you a pedophile one year?
But my new mortal enemy is the Ace family, a vlogging channel that has quite a shade.
Bro, that's man funny,
The
bro.
Ace family consists of Father Austin, God of the Sun, who condemned the humans to eternal suffering. Mother Catherine, who fled the land of Laundra when the darkness spread further than hypothesized. A toddler named Ellie, pronounced L. One can only assume Austin binged a bunch of Death Note and named his child after the autistic detective. Also, there's a baby. Nothing really of note. I think their name's Homer or something. Also, fun fact, Mother Catherine is using a fake name, as proven by a YouTube channel using a Vine profile picture. So you know it's serious business.
Catherine's first name isn't actually Catherine. Her and Austin made a video revealing secrets about themselves, and she mentioned that Catherine is her middle name. They didn't mention exactly what her real name was, but Austin mentioned something like Delicious.
Nice. My only guess is that she's a witness protection. But what's the deal with the Ace family? They seem fairly harmless, vlogging their lives to show to the internet in exchange for ad revenue.
What is all this money?
But the Ace family tell lies. And as we all know on the internet, a lie is on the same level as first-degree murder.
Stop! You violated the law.
Our first case. The Ace family wanted to give something to charity. How generous. They promised $100,000 to be given away.
And the winner of that game will receive a $100,000 check to donate to charity. Each player on that team will get a portion of the money to donate to their charity of choice. And guys, that's the best part about this event, is to be able to give back.
And it would all be set up as a basketball game. Also inviting all of his fans to come and watch, with A-list celebrities like Rice Gum.
Hey, irrelevant.
Eventually one team won, and Austin only gave out $75K. Keep in mind, even though it was $25,000 below the goal, giving away $75,000 of your own money is beyond generous.
Thank you, kind sir.
If you have nothing to gain. But Austin was making profit from this event. He was selling his own jerseys, $65 a piece. You can even see in the crowd, a lot of people are wearing them. And tickets to the stadium were $45 each.
We'll be able to purchase the Ace family's charity basketball event.
So the tickets are going to be $45.
I assume the kid's watching another PewDiePie video. And the stadium has well over 10,000 total seats, so that's over $400,000. And from the video, it looks like a pretty packed stadium. The event was also live streamed on the YouTube channel with ads on, having over 8.5 million views at the time. That's anywhere between $20,000 to $30,000 on top. Now, Austin would have lost money hiring the stadium. The ticket holders would have taken a cut of each ticket to hire ambulances in case of emergency.
They took $11 from each ticket for ambulance just to be there on spot.
So let's take $11 off each ticket. But that's still a fraction of the possible profit he made compared to the money he gave away. Also, he might have even hired the stadium for a discounted price, or even for free, because this was a charity event.
But I like money.
Suspicion was racking up against Austin, and he couldn't take this lying down. So he thought of a brilliant move to prove his innocence.
Yeah.
Another basketball game! We promised $100,000 this time, all for charity. And also, anyone could join.
All ages and genders are welcome. If you think you can do it, hit us up. Whoever's interested, you have about 5 days to hit us up to enter the contest, and I guess you have 5 days to also practice.
I tried reaching out, but unfortunately he didn't see my message in time, and he just went with Rice Gum again.
Yo, neck, my guy, man. Hey, you saw that video? Look at this dude neck, though. Yo, listen, bro.
Don't you ever touch me. Various E-celebs were promised to turn up, like the funny Vine man. The midget from Logan Paul's videos.
Come here, boy. Come here, boy.
And Soldier Boy? I guess the basketball game will take place in a prison courtyard. But by announcing all these famous people, there's no space anymore for any of the Ace family subscribers to join in. The fan base were furious, and Operation Ace Family Are Gay commenced.
Fuck it, let's just go through all of them. So the one up here, hopefully you guys know this one.
Congrats, you lost a subscriber.
In the back, we have some prayer hands.
You should have posted an apology video.
On the inside of my wrist, we have here, blessed.
You ain't blessed. You fake as hell, boy.
Mick Broom, my princess, my daughter.
Austin later posted a tweet in response to not picking anyone from his subscriber base. If you're an Ace family member, you know we always do stuff for our Ace family members. What? But people weren't buying it.
Ace family lie. I should have won the 100K. Hashtag on.
He then backpedaled from offering fan admissions by saying, "We wanted to do something fun for other creators / celebs." Nice save, Austin. Now the goal to get the 100K was to score 10 consecutive dunks without fail, but no one could do it, and Austin was getting nervous. So he called upon his trap card.
You triggered my trap card!
A random person who wasn't even part of the competition. And of course he got 10 points and won the game. This is Austin Mills, not to be confused with Ace Family's Austin McBroom, although they have been friends since childhood.
Bro, since we were like 10 years old.
Austin is a semi-professional basketball player, and when asked about what he'd do with the charity money, he said he'd give it away, but also goes on to say he'll be using some of it to move out.
What you gonna do with the $100,000?
I'm gonna move out of my parents' crib, get my own spot.
That's dope.
The portion is definitely going to charity.
Sounds like he's a bit strapped for cash, using charity money on himself to move out.
That rocks.
Enter Mother Jade Mills.
My name is Jade Mills, and I am a global luxury real estate agent.
owner of her very own real estate company, which you have to have at least $1 million to even think about buying any of her property. She's worked with Britney Spears, Jerry Seinfeld, and even Ellen DeGeneres.
From like a streamer and a YouTuber, it's kind of like ad revenue and how many concurrent viewers you have.
Well, I have a lot of viewers. I have people.
So you probably
I have like 77 million Twitter followers.
Her company has generated over $4
Do we need
billion
Thatcher, or is
in
it gonna be
sales.
African big
Some
enough?
call her the $4 billion woman. In short, she's very rich. Now, it is understandable that rich kids would want their own money to grow independent from their parents, but if your closest family had that much capital, would you really be using charity money to fuel your own independence?
It was rigged, you feel me? It was supposed to be rigged for me, but I guess it rigged it for somebody else.
Side case, the missing lollipop. On Instagram, Austin recorded his daughter reaching for a certain phallic-shaped lollipop. Kinda strange, but let's just chalk it up as a really weird joke. But then Austin starts encouraging her.
Show Catherine what you have in your hand. Show Catherine. Show her. You really making me buy this lollipop right now? You really want it? Oh, God. Keep that in the bag forever. Do not show that to anybody, okay?
Yeah, don't tell anybody while I share it with my 6.1 million Instagram followers. The video has since been taken down, and now probably replaced with various pictures of Austin flexing his Gucci clothing. Enter our next case, Urban Trademark 7. Urban is a gentleman who'd make custom skins for headbands. Austin liked Urban's headband design so much, he decided to hook up with him and do a business meeting.
So he hit me up, and then verbally on the phone, he was like, yeah, bro, I really fuck with your shit. Let's put something together.
They had the meeting, but couldn't come to an agreement about a collaboration. So after the meeting, Austin apparently copied the blueprint of the original design and duplicated it.
I do need capital. A couple days later, I seen on YouTube, he had on the bands, some bands that looked like my bands with him and his daughter. It was mad thick. They wasn't, I just know my work.
After hearing he'd been called out for this, Austin's response wasn't the best.
So I made my old headbands. He got mad because I posted it and I had a little following. He was like, this dude's he tried to take my idea. He took my
Thermite, can you get this wall over here? It's not like electrified at all. Instead of using it on barricades.
Austin from the Ace family stole my art.
Now in Austin's defense, the headband he designed doesn't look similar to the designs Urban trademark for selling. But him having a meeting with someone about headbands with the intent to collab, then going ahead and printing out your own, is definitely suspicious.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Now here's the big one. On August 16th, 2018, the Ace family uploaded.
Someone broke into our house!
The video begins with Austin just screaming like a retard.
Hey, family!
The video begins with Austin explaining how someone had broken into their property.
I put the keys down the counter, and I hear some like glass dropping, and I look over and it's a back door shattered. So I told Catherine, the girls, get the fuck out of there. We left. Had to run to the neighbors, talk to the neighbors, and now, like I said, the cops are finally here.
Inside, we see the possible burglar broke the downstairs slide door as an entry point, which the Ace family took a pretty nice photo of for their thumbnail.
Oh no, what do we do? I'm so scared.
And even though the alleged robber entered through the ground floor, they only ransacked the upstairs, taking cashless wallets, bags, and Austin's gun, including the magazines for it.
They did take my fucking gun. They took all my damn clips, too. I had hella clips. I was ready. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
But the robber took no electronics, not even the Ace family's cameras, which are critical to their YouTube channel.
They left the computers, left everything else. They left the vlogging cameras.
Down to one friendly.
Bedroom.
If you have a phone, I would just throw it in there. Nice.
Op 4 neutralized. Mission successful.
They didn't take nothing in here.
Phones and laptops are hard for robbers to profit from because they're usually password locked. But cameras mostly have no protection from anyone using them. And without their recording equipment, how would we be able to see the Ace family nighttime routine or Dear Ace family? Very emotional, where they made an AirPod user cry.
I'm passing back and I see the car. I was like, they're the only ones there. The car is there.
What also arouses suspicion is Austin uncovering a set of footprints on the lawn all by himself.
Hold up.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That's a big foot right there. Those are big feet.
Keep in mind, the police spent ages inside of the home, and they didn't see or think to tell him of a set of footprints leading away from the home. It's almost like Austin wants to be the Cole Phelps of his very own story. Also, a receipt surfaced showing Top Cop Shop LA rented out fake police cars on August 16th, the date the video was uploaded, with a confirmation that the purchasee was Austin. This receipt apparently came from a fan of the Ace family, who posed as their financial advisor, asking Cop Shop to supply a receipt. Austin responded to this in the most mature way possible.
We're to the point now where people are gonna make up shit, where they just want to hold our ball sack, right? They want to caress it. They don't want to go to another ball sack because that ball sack's not as nice. They just want to hold the Ace family ball sack in their hands. They want to take that ball sack, you know what I mean? They want to lotion it up and add extras to the ball sack. At the end of the day, a ball sack is not really it's not that nice. You know what I mean? It's not that nice. So they want to make it nice and make it more give more attention to the ball sack.
Catherine also addressed this, mentioning how people are attacking the integrity of the LAPD. Bit of a stretch, but I digress. I'm sure Elle would have had a say as well, but she was probably too busy watching PewDiePie videos on repeat. Also, this officer, who seems more than happy to be in this vlog, looks somewhat similar to Officer Auriel, a fake policeman you can hire from Cop Shop LA. Although the officer in this video looks a little bit younger and has a much longer forehead.
Shut up about my head. It is normal. It is a nice head. It does not look like a sodding tic-tac.
But this could be due to a different camera from the photo and one used in the video, as different lenses can make people look vastly different.
You challenge me, mother.
It looks like the evidence is stacking up. Oh, never mind. A police report got released. The break-in did in fact happen, marking the Ace family as celebrities. But let's look a little deeper. The official crime mapping service from LAPD shows a robbery reported on the same block the family live on. Here's the incident reference number. The police report shows the same date as the break-in. The incident number is different. Now, there's a popular game theory going around. The break-in is real, and the Ace family were wrong. But what if they turned up to the house to film the break-in, and it wasn't usable content, or choosing not to record anything at all, which is totally justified. Having your home broken into is a terrifying thing. So they instead decided to recreate the
Yeah, your TK didn't work, bro.
False police to
I know you're trying to...
it. This would explain the
TK
receipt
didn't work.
if it was legitimate. 5 police actors, 5 cop cars, and a sheriff. It would also explain how they take the time to pose for the thumbnail. Look in comparison how Austin acts when an actual policewoman comes over to collect fingerprints.
You don't mind if I film, do you?
It's your
Useless because the robbers had tiny flashlights. Austin does eventually bring up the security footage on a live stream, hit the floor.
And I hear some glass dropping.
But the Ace family did address some of these criticisms in a follow-up video. Firstly, explaining the precision of the thumbnail.
And so right when I'm standing over the glass, I'm thinking hey, we need to take a thumbnail. That comes to mind as a YouTuber. That's what we do for a living. We were already standing by the shattered glass door as we're talking about it. And Austin goes like this, and the camera to Ollie, who takes a thumbnail. It takes 1 second. Elle went like this because she was so tired. And she was like, I don't want to take pictures, I don't want to be on the camera. So she went like that.
That seems like a bit of a stretch. It's hard to believe a thumbnail so perfectly choreographed could have been taken in a second.
I've covered wars.
But we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Their next point, which they heavily emphasize. I find it hard to sympathize with this one. They show their entire house in many videos, sometimes the entire street, with a questionable attempt to hide where they live, making it easy for fans or haters alike to find out exactly where they live.
just its own species and lives nowhere else.
Now, keep in mind, going to someone's private property, even as a fan, is never okay. But the Ace family really didn't help themselves here. Lastly, put your tinfoil hats on for this one. The Ace family house was never fully owned, but rented out. This is further backed by Catherine's brother Ryan talking about the house.
It's not opening. Oh no. Bro, I would call the owner and ask him about the history of his house. Call about the history of his house.
Ryan was promptly banned from the server indefinitely. The Ace family break-in happened 10 months after the initial lease. Also, they were quick to move to another property, like the very next video quickly.
As soon as Catherine gets back
I
from
could
her
Captain.
trip, we will no longer be. We're moving out.
Also, their excuse for why they were moving isn't the best.
To be honest, when we moved in, we were a lot smaller.
A lot smaller.
A lot smaller.
Are we looking
and
over the family?
we didn't know what to expect.
Good.
This was so unexpected.
Smaller implies you had less
Yeah,
money to work with, and if the lease
You're
is
right.
correct, they were paying $170,000 total
There's no one
for
in
living
the
in the house for just 10 months.
Nearest right here.
Probably fairly cheap in the LA hills, but for the rest of us, not so much.
Smells like
Bro.
Now it's
Hello,
possible
Mara.
that the robbery was a motive for a video.
She's in bathroom.
Knowing their lease would be up soon, they'd have to break it, film it for a video, and then
I'm gonna go
quickly
outside.
move to their pre-planned new home.
Oh, you should be good.
Right there.
We just don't feel safe here anymore.
In conclusion, there is no 100% undeniable proof that the Ace family staged this, but there's way too much possible evidence to ignore. That, combined with the Ace family actively lying in the past, just puts more suspicion upon them. But I'm happy to say the Ace family are thriving and
Yeah,
more
Jesse,
successful
can I
than
say
ever.
something, my
I think they
friend?
were filming raccoons.
Mission failed.
Guys, joining now.
Not being funny, but you gotta leave.
Are we on a list? I'm meant to be special, alright.
Morgs needs no introduction. He's the dark timeline of children's entertainment. I don't mean children as in, oh, look at me, I'm in my late 20s playing Fortnite or Minecraft. I mean, look at me eating this specific kind of food for 24 hours.
Today, we're eating the souls of the children for 24 hours.
Now, Morgs is a household name in the 5-year-old community. He's got a strong following of over 10 million subs. You know, everyone in this family has a YouTube channel. His mom has one that's very close to overtaking mine.
We won't go near any of your expensive fancy clothes.
His stepdad has a YouTube channel as well called Bold Martin.
I forgot about the chips. We've forgotten the crackers.
He's even got this child that he's kidnapped called Mini Morgs. Like, seriously, what's with family-friendly YouTube channels and having a mini-me version of themselves? But even though Morgs has so much influence, he's done so many events, I've never actually met him in person. But what I did find out is that Morgs announced his own event. You know how it's his own event? Because it's called Morgs Fest. His ego is actually that big. The ultimate family fun day out with Morgs and his squad. Apparently, your mother is the squad now. When me and Mum go Tesco's, squad roll out. Featuring the world's largest inflatable course, the Labyrinth Challenge. Morgs versus Mum live stage show. And loads more fun inflatables and challenges throughout the day. I like the part as well that says parents need to buy a ticket even if their child already has one. You full well know that your audience are 5-year-olds, so parents are going to be coming. So you will be breaking in double profit. Now, Morgs did actually create his own YouTube channel for the event. Now, there's only 2 videos. One of them is just a generic trailer promoting the event. And then there's the second one where he says, the event is cancelled.